Welcome back to another podcast of Sophia Rising. This is episode 2, and today my guest is Charlene. And Charlene is a practitioner of shamanism, body talk, epigenetics, microbiome, quantum touch, source point, esoteric acupressure, Reiki, and touch healing. She is also an animal communicator and animal talk practitioner. Charlene embodies a deep reverence for our beautiful Pachamama, Mother Earth, and walks the sacred path of aiding in the awakening and rise of the divine feminine energy. As she embraces her own wounds, tapping into shared vulnerability, transcending limitations, liberating her own soul, holding space for herself and others along the way. It's an honor to have you as a guest on Sophia Rising. Charlene, thank you so much for making time today to be with us. Welcome.
I think the honor is mine. Muchas gracias. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to start out. Would you just tell us a little bit about yourself? You live in and are doing. Where are you situated on the plane?
Say again?
Where are you situated in the plane? I know where you live, but I'd like the guests to know where you are.
Physically.
Physically, yes.
Physically, I live in the San Francisco Bay Area of California, United States. I'm originally from Panama. So it's been a very interesting experience to live here in this area. But it's been where I needed to be. That is something that's been coming in very clearly for me. I always kind of wondered why I ended up here. But we are, every single one of us is exactly where we need to be in this moment, in this time, in this space.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to talk to you. There's so much I want to talk to you about, but today I want to stay focused on your work with animals, being an animal communicator. I've personally experienced the results of your work on animals when you worked on my daughter's beloved Izzy. And I want to know how that started for you and what it is what called you into it? How did you end up doing this as a part of your offerings? I know, kind of loaded.
I was thinking to myself, well, that's a long story. How do I shorten this up? I think it began really when I was about 4 or 5 years old. I have a vivid imagination as a child. And I wasn't a very good communicator with people. I just couldn't verbalize my feelings or my thoughts, so I was very quiet. But the animals seemed to always be the ones that I would gravitate towards, felt very comfortable with them. So that's the beginning there. I'm not a person that hears things. There's many that can hear stuff. I would have to say that my gift is truly the feeling. I have this, it's a gift that I am able to, it's a gentle thing that I ask always. It's always been a permission thing for me because I always felt very much that it's sacred. You know, I grew up with many dogs, all kinds of, my mother rescued everything that came around. So from lizards to iguanas to, birds. Well, the birds are amazing. Dogs, cats, name it. And so the other thing that really struck me was the gentleman that worked for my family in our, we had a very, very large yard. And he came every day and worked in the garden for my mother in the yard. But what I didn't realize until many years later was that he was what we call el curandero, the medicine man of the town. I had no idea. And our dogs were always loose. It's not as in the United States where you put leashes on them and you walk your dog. They run, they're free. But they're also, because they're free, they get into many fights. And so many times my dogs would literally drag themselves home with these gaping holes on either side of their neck. And this man would mix these smelly I don't know what that was, tar-like things and slap it on the wounds. And I would sit there and watch him do it. I wish I could remember what those things were that he was putting in it. But he would nurse these dogs back to health, and I would see the oozing of the wounds. I would hear him talking these words to the dogs. Um, Became very fascinated with that. I think that's where it all started for me. Of course, I lost a lot of that coming here to the United States to study. Trying to fit into this culture was a challenge, is a nice way to put it. And so I lost myself really until about, I would have to say, almost mid 30s. I began a journey there that really had nothing to do with the animals, honestly. It began jumping back into the art field. I'm an artist. I didn't really realize I was an artist until then, And I spent 15 years building a company, doing amazing art. But what I discovered is when you're in art and you're an artist, I know you get this, is that your creativity and your imagination just blossom. And your third eye starts to open and you start to hear things that you probably never heard. And I'm not talking about voices in your head. I'm talking about you're listening to what's in your heart. It just starts coming forward. And of course, at that point in time, I had an animal. I had a beautiful black cat. And the relationship with my cat just began to exponentially grow. And I would have to say that from there, the art kind of rolled me into other healing modalities, because what I found, and the company name was the Faux Finish Studio, but it was the Center for the Healing Arts was always on the title. And because color and light, as you know, heals people like music does and sound does. Animals heal people. That's the other thing. And so
I don't think we realize how hard our beloved pets work on our behalf.
Very true.
Yeah.
I think many times when people bring their animals to me or find me, we discover that that's their job, especially the dogs. That's the job of the dog is to take care of the pack. And in the Matrix, the pack is the human pack, unless, there's other animals maybe, but it's the human pack. And it always turns around in the circle and points to the human pack. So, when you begin to work with the animals and you find out what they're holding on to and bring it up to the surface, the animals begin to heal themselves. My work really isn't, I don't consider myself a healer. I consider myself a really good listener. And I aid the animal into bringing whatever it is that's being held in the body, in the bones, in the cells, any structure of the physical body. I should also clarify, it could be a structure of the emotional body, mental body. They don't really deal with spirituality or spiritual bodies. They're already there. So we don't have to worry about that. But it's always taking on the issues of their beautiful people that they love with all their hearts. They love unconditionally. They will die for the pack. That's their job. Like, wolves do that too. So yeah, I'm not quite sure where I'm headed with all of this.
There's a reason why people go to horses for horse therapy. And it's the energy of these beings that they have to offer us. And right? Yeah.
Yeah, horses in particular are what I consider angelic healers. They're angels embodied in horses. And the beautiful thing about a horse is, I see this all the time because I go to the barn. My daughter's horse, I go with her all the time. And you can walk right into the barn and they will all look at you and they will already read your energy. They already see you coming a mile away. They know exactly what fears you carry. They see the burdens, they see it all. And amazingly enough, I see all these people who own the horses, and a lot of them, ironically, they have these beautiful animals, but they're so afraid of them. I mean, they're big. My daughter's horse is 17 hands. They're big, but their hearts are incredibly generous and healing. And what they do is they tap into everything that is your issue. So if you have had PTSD is a really good example of why the horses are being used in that therapy, or anger management. That's another really big one. Horses are used in that. Is because they will just push that button over and over again until the person has to be aware enough to realize that that's me. Oh my God, that's my issue. But when that opens up, the relationship and the bond that the horse can have with that individual is, I can't even put a word to it. It is a bond that is beyond, uh, it's almost beyond love, because it's just so, intrinsic.
Yes. Well, when you think about, metaphorically speaking, horses, they are used for transporting and carrying large or pulling heavy, and that's the medicine that they have to offer, is that we need to be working on it ourselves, but they extend that to us. I cannot tell you how many times I have met a dog with certain health issues, and the owner will be telling me, and then they'll go on to their own issues, and I'm like, but do you see that your dog has the same medical condition that you do? Like, this is the work that our animals do for us. I've had this experience with my little doggy.
Mhm.
He's 16 now, but even in the middle of the night, and I think this is funny, sometimes when I cough, he coughs at the exact same time. We can both be asleep, and I'll just be like, "How is what are the coincidences of that?" There
Yeah.
aren't any. Like,
Yeah. No.
it's we're connected. It's energy. We're sharing a life together, and because they're just being, and they're so receptive to it. It's, another like, when I would be doing Reiki on someone, if I left the room, often I'd come back and he'd be sitting on the client's chest on the table. I'm like, "I don't even know how he got up there, first of all." But
Yeah.
it's like he would seal the energy work that had been done.
Okay, that's so
It's
awesome.
amazing.
Yeah. Well, they're cats, they have their jobs too. They're amazing too. I mean, cats don't come into your life for no reason either. Um, but yeah, I agree with you on the point that a lot of times the diseases that the animals have is because they've taken it on from the human to protect the human. Because dogs, when I was growing up, where I grew up, that cancer of the dogs, lymphoma of the dogs, tumors, dogs now even suffer from diabetes and all these other interesting diseases that never existed. It just didn't exist. I don't even think it, well, maybe some people had cancer, but it wasn't like rampant the way it is today. So you have to really take a really good look as to, well, what's happening? What's going on that's causing such sickness and dis-ease in humans and then in the animals too, you know? That's a whole other
Whole other
conversation.
show, yeah. I was actually wanting to bring that up with you about, there seems to be a lot of grief here on earth right now. There's just an abundance of grieving happening, and our animals are also feeling that, especially with the destructions from the fires, and there's just been a lot of, I mean, we'll keep this high, but let's recognize what is happening with the destruction of areas, and the animals are also feeling it and processing it however they are. And I would like just to hold the spotlight on that for a moment. And if there's anything that we can do as sharing this space to help out these beautiful creatures that are so willing to give to us if asked. We don't even need to ask, they just do it, especially our close companions.
That's very true. Well, first of all, we have to recognize that the animals live on what is considered the golden frequency. their consciousness is so high above us. I think the beauty of what's happening, I mean, we have to see that there's a purpose in what's happening. I know it's tragic, it's painful as all heck, but it's the purification of the dense energies that have permeated for way too long. Everything has reached a boiling point, in my opinion. And it's sort of like a volcano, right? The volcano can do it's almost like boiling water. You can go to the tip of the volcano and look in, and you can see the bubbles, and all this. It can be like that for a very long time until the earth just kind of can't do it anymore and just pushes everything out. And there's a whole lot of that's happening as well. Our beautiful Pachamama is just purifying herself. She's ascending as we are. But I think the animals, because of the frequency that they are on, is they give everything to life. They give everything to our Mother Earth. They live with the earth. They are part of the earth. And they don't understand what we go through because we are in such a lower area than they are, as if you can look at it like that. Mm-hmm. It's probably almost like you would consider it maybe a different timeline. I'm trying to think of right words to kind of convey it. But they are illuminating the transmutation of everything that's going on around for us. It's almost like when we see an animal suffering, what happens with our hearts? We just go, we want to do everything we can to help. And that's the deepest, most beautiful, compassionate love that we can show. The animals bring that out in us in a way that we sometimes don't even realize. It just comes out. Even the hardened, how you say, hardened hearts, they feel something when they see an animal suffer, or are in the presence of an animal suffering, because they will not complain for the most part. They suffer in silence, and you see it. Very different than what we do. They can't tell us what's going on with them, so we have to, in the moment, in that present moment that we're there with them and they're feeling what they're feeling, what happens to the human? In that present moment, we elevate ourselves, because now we're looking and we're hearing and we're sensing and we're seeing with the subtle senses rather than eyes, ears. Everything has a consciousness, and that drops us into a whole different space. And in that space, then what happens? Then the heart door opens, and this compassion flows, this love flows. It's a beautiful thing. So the animals, their job, I guess, it's not even a job. Their existence is to give us joy, is to create beauty in relationships, in environments, with their presence. It's so magnanimous. I can't put another word to that one. And I
beautifully said.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's beautifully said. It's a softening of the heart when you see a suffering animal. It doesn't matter who you are. If you're seeing an animal right before you suffering, it's like you want to do anything you can to help, to alleviate that suffering, which is what they do for us. I love the animal communicator and animal talk practitioner, and I'm imagining that in your presence, these creatures are just like, oh, finally someone to hear me, and just a space that they can release it and have someone to work through it with them. It's like, for myself, I've done Reiki with my own animals and other animals, but when there's that personal relationship and your little beloved furry coat friend is suffering because of the heart attachments and fear and whatnot might get in the way. It's a service that you offer is so beautiful to step into that space, to hold space, to not have that raw attachment, but to know that you are there holding space for whatever outcome and you're there for the animal and for the animal's soul, which it's such a gift that you offer and beautiful. I've been on your website and it's so beautiful. We'll link the where we can find you to the video after. So if anyone would like to go to Charlie's webpage, Charlene's webpage, to see what else she can offer. Have you any share stories that you can share about your animal communication? Is there anything that brings a smile to your face that might be a bit comical and one of actual like deep healing that
I think the best story, if you want to call it a story, is a story of this was one beautiful horse. This horse came up lame, and she was a dressage show horse, so very fancy, very beautiful. Won many blue ribbons prior to this event, right? That happened, but she came up lame, and so her owners take her to the vet. In the physical world, they can't find anything that's causing the lameness. I mean, they even took her to UC Davis, did all kinds of MRIs, ultrasounds, all different kinds of tests. Everything's fine. Can't figure it out. Why is she lame? And the owner happened to know me from some years back when my daughter was, in the competing world and in that same barn. And so she thought, well, I guess what do I have to lose? So she called me, and I had some very fascinating encounters with this horse because the daughter, who was the one that was riding the horse and the competitor, was about to head off to college, and she was very bonded with this young woman. And so the part of the whole thing was the fear of, she's going to forget about me. She's going to go away and she's not going to remember me. And what's going to happen to me? And so there was that part, which is purely emotional and pure love. And the other part came in, had a lot to do with her lineage, believe it or not. The dam, one, the sire was the other, that both lineages were having a lot of physical issues due to, and sad to say, a lot of times in the dressage world or any horse world, sometimes they push the horse too fast, too soon to go up the levels. And so these actual issues start to come down the line in the DNA of the horses. And so this was actually coming through to her as well. So it was a combination, if you want to look at it that way, of the emotional body, and then actual, if you want to look down as DNA as being something physical, then you could look at it like that. I look at it as more of an etheric issue. Going back, you have to go back into the nice, almost karmic in a way. But after about 4 or 5 sessions, I don't remember, but she was fine. She was understanding that this child had to go away for a reason. Didn't mean that she was not going to remember her, or that she was going to forget about her. She was coming home. Once she got the understanding that, oh, my baby's not leaving me, okay, then she just was blossoming. And then she went back into the ring, and I mean, she's an amazing mare. She won all kinds of ribbons and stuff, I think that was my most amazing story, that I was just like, love made you lame? Wow.
It's like you helped her process abandonment issues.
Yeah, sort of feeling that way too. But it was the amazing love that she had for this child, this young woman, that she just made herself lame so that the attention would focus on her, in a way. But there was a lot of other stuff that had to be healed. But in bringing that stuff up, then the body heals itself. What we become is witnesses to this miracle of the body's own ability to heal. And that's what it comes down to.
Yes. And the work that you did on my daughter's dog, I'll share the story of Izzy. She was a brindle boxer, and she had this gland that would just grow really big. She'd had it operated on and drained, but it just was so persistent. And I had to take her to the vet, and the vet's like, well, she's going to need another surgery. And I was just like, no, she's not. So I took her home. I got a hold of you. You said, send me a picture. So I sent you a picture, and you seen in her what she was needing. So I took those things that you shared with me with how she was feeling, and I would give her affirmations while doing Reiki, and doing the Reiki energy with the affirmations from the information that I got from you, and also the energy work that you were doing long distance. And I took her back to the vet 2 weeks later, and the vet could not believe how much it had gone down, and she no longer needed surgery.
Oh, I didn't know that part.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. They're so receptive.
Uh-huh.
Eventually, in her old age, it did come back again. And in the summertime, when I went and visited her, I got down and I put my hand on it, and I looked at her and I was like, Izzy, I believe in you. You can heal this. And a couple months later, my daughter's like, oh, the lump is gone again. And I was like,
That's
that's how recent she's passed away. She passed away in November. She had completed her tour of duty, made sure my daughter got into her new place and was good and on her own, and she left this realm and is now traveling um, wherever she is.
Mhm.
So
Right.
I, for one, am so grateful for your gift, since yeah, I experienced the power of it myself. And it's nice because you can do this long distance, so you don't actually have to be physically present. It can be done through a
Anyway,
picture even,
we're
communicate.
all
And I understand, I get that because I've been able to read energy through photos before as well, and I'm quite accurate with it. So it's a thing.
it's a thing.
It's a thing, yeah.
We're all one. We're all interconnected.
100%.
No
Yeah.
such thing as you're on your own.
Yeah.
Yeah. So energy is energy.
Energy is energy. Yeah. How long have you been doing Reiki for?
Oh my gosh, I started
Besides
Reiki.
your whole life.
Yeah, yeah. Modalities are given names, so it's really something innate that we all have. We all carry these gifts,
Exactly. Yeah.
but we all carry them. But I actually doing the actual Reiki probably 2007, 2008, right around there.
Beautiful. I'm
Yeah.
not surprised that you went into the arts. Art is a way of communicating with our higher self, connecting us to our higher self, that imaginary realm.
Yeah.
It's
Art is, art is oof. I mean, I want to eat color. I just love color. You know, and I like to,
I'm gonna do a show on color healing, because it's something I myself am passionate about. So
yeah, light heals, color heals, sound heals. I mean, oh my gosh, you
well,
have so
even
many
the word
things to work on.
human, right? Hue. We are hue of light.
That's
So
it.
yeah,
Yeah, because we are beings of light. We're just having a human experience.
yeah.
But I know you know that this is real, that you be walking down the street and then you see someone and you can see their aura and you go, ooh.
Ooh, or mm.
Or yes, you can go and go, oh no, it's more than that.
Across the street.
Across the street, go the other way. Yeah, that's very real too. A lot of that, but yeah,
What is
yes,
your website called?
whole body wisdom.
Whole body wisdom.
It's a .net, not a .com. Yeah, because it is about the whole body in all its entirety. And in my viewpoint, we're not just physical, you know, we have to have all of us, the mental, the emotional, the spiritual, and then we have the center, the Quichi, you know, as we know it in shamanism, which is the inner heart, right? That has to be open. This is us. This is our highest, most illuminated self. It's the wisdom of the body in all its forms. When you become whole and you open yourself up to the truth of who you really are, and forget about, we all play, ¿cómo se dice? Coño, this is where I have the problem. When I think of the word in Spanish, I can't think of it in English. We play it's not a game. We play the masquerade of different
roles.
Yes. Roles. That's the word I was trying to think of. We play different roles in different situations. Work, you know, sometimes family, sometimes different friends. You show yourself different into, you know, wherever. When all that goes away and you just bear yourself open to who you really are. Now you're talking about who you really are. That's the truth. And you stop chasing ways to perhaps suppress the pain. We all have pain. I think that's the thing that we need to really embrace in this time. We're given this amazing opportunity to acknowledge the pain and to see the pain and to see the fear and it's ugly. The wounds are deep. I mean, but when you sit and look at it, like truly look at it, and it may get you very depressed. You may go into a slump of one time, but you're looking at it and you are going to come out on the other side. And the more that then you realize, I got through that. Well, that was horrible, but I got through that. And then something else comes up and you go, maybe I should look at that too, you know? And then all of a sudden these bits and pieces start coming in, right? That's what we're meant to do. And talking about the title of my website, that's where I went, you know, is that all of that has to be intertwined together. And it was a journey that I started on my own for me, right? So I understand it. I understand what people will go through and it's all at different levels of pain. There's no judgment of anything. There's just the acceptance that you're my brother or you're my sister. And despite everything that you've done, there is forgiveness. It doesn't, we are, ¿cómo se dice? We are in a time now, Sunshine, and I know you know this, where all that stuff doesn't matter anymore.
Doesn't matter.
I mean, you could have been the meanest person to me or done the worst things possible to me. I forgive you because it's about the soul. That was our contract. You were meant to do that so that I could grow. You know,
we're here to liberate our soul. Yeah.
That's the best way to put it.
Yeah.
We are the liberating light of the sun. That's what we are. We're what we call Intik Churi, children of the sun.
Children of the sun. Well, I've just been given a notice. We're out of time. And I think that's so funny. I think this is a beautiful place to end, and transcending that guilt and shame and staying vulnerable. She needs us to stay vulnerable.
You have to open your heart.
Yeah.
You need to just stop whatever you're doing. And yeah, you have to, this is it. This is why the time is now.
Yeah. If not now, then when?
Next lifetime. But yeah.
All right, my sister. Thank you so much. And I will be inviting you back to talk about so many other things. I do believe I might be upgrading Zoom soon, so I don't have to worry about this limitation.
Hey, that's how we all start.
Yes. I'm just learning as I go here. So
we all are.
Yeah. I will be linking your info to the video, and just to remind everybody to thumbs up, like, and subscribe, and share with those who you believe need to hear. And I will be chatting with you soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You're beautiful. I just need to say that.
Oh,
Love
thank
you.
you. Love you.
Bye.
Bye.